How do you cope when there just aren't enough hours in the day? Time management is a subject that's very close to my heart. I cram a lot into my life, and in younger days, I just couldn't cope. I never had enough time to do all the things that I wanted and needed to do. I was always on that hamster wheel, and I was always like, there just aren't enough hours in the day. I'm Jen Churchill, and I help women grow in confidence from the inside out and the outside in, using mindset, exercise, diet, products and supplements so they look and feel amazing and can live their best life. In this episode, I'm going to share with you a tactic that I learned so I didn't have to keep giving up things that were important to me, but I also didn't have to keep thinking there just aren't enough hours in the day. I release a new episode every week, so if you don't want to miss out, please hit the subscribe button below and you'll get a notification every time there's a new one. So amongst other things in my life, I work a corporate job full time, and I have researched time management to the nth degree over the years. One corporate I worked for actually had a whole day devoted to can you play before you work. The exercise evaluated whether you could pause things that had to be done whilst you enjoyed your life, and then you could go back to things that had to be done later. You can guess where I was on the spectrum a few years ago. All the work had to be done before I could even think about playing. And work means things that you're paid to do, but also things you're responsible for. I couldn't dream of relaxing or playing until all the work was done. So for me, that's paid work and the domestic work, the stuff around the house, the stuff for the kids, the stuff for the pets, all of that stuff. And if you go around like that, as I did, there's never any time for play because work's never done, right? I've mentored many women over the years who felt the same way. So in researching them and researching myself, I know it's a surefire way to burn out. So what do we do about it? So here's what I found. You can't alter time. Time is a scientific phenomenon. You can't make it bigger. You can't make it smaller. So all you can do is learn to manage yourself in the time that you have. So how do we do that? Well, a little known fact about me is I'm a little bit geeky about stars and space, so I tend to look there for inspiration when I need some. And what I came up with was a concept called vacuum hours. Now, there is a knack to creating a vacuum hour. A vacuum hour, in other words, is a free space, which is a scientific term actually for a vacuum. A vacuum is technically a space void of matter, and the pressure inside a vacuum is very, very low. Sound good? A vacuum doesn't suck things in like we imagine it would. It's just that there's absolutely nothing in there. So the things that are around it have to start seeping into it. It has to be empty for the things around it to come into it. So here's where my concept is. You've got to create some time where it's completely empty. So here's what you're going to do. Number one, you're going to turn off all your emails and all of your notifications. That's anything that can bing, bong, ding, ring. Get rid of it. Number two, put your phone on silent. And very importantly, turn it over. We don't want that thing flashing. Number three, turn off all of your social media on all of your devices. And number four, unless you actually need it, turn your PC off, put it into sleep mode, turn it off completely, do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that that thing can't distract you. So by doing those things, you've created a void or a vacuum, an empty space effectively where nothing can disturb you. You've got you. Do you see what I mean? So whatever it is that you're going to do in this vacuum time, now's the time to set an alarm for however many minutes that you think you need. Can you go 60? That's nice. Personally, mine's 42. It's my magic number, and it's like a nice amount of time to be able to really focus in on what I need to focus on. So you should have an idea before you start what you want to focus on, but not necessarily what the outcome is going to be. Let that flow, let that come to you in that time. It might be brainstorming, mind mapping, spending an hour on LinkedIn doing some research. It might be doing some research on a project, anything, but just focus on that one thing. And when the buzzer goes off, and it's going to make you jump because you won't realise how quickly the time's gone by, just stop. So what you'll find in this void time is that things that you're struggling to manifest during the normal working day, if you like, they all have to flow in because there's nothing else left. So your creativity will start to come in. Your imagination will start to run riot. Your subconscious mind will come to play. You'll suddenly remember that you've got something saved over here, which could be helpful over here. These things have to come to light in a vacuum because there's nothing else left. So you're going to pull in everything else that normally you're shutting down. When you've got notifications and phones and computers and everything else buzzing at us, it's difficult to get into creative flow. So here's where it really does come to pass. So when you've finished your vacuum hour, you might want to set another little buzzer just to go back and reply to any emails or anything that have come in whilst you've been in your vacuum hour. Here's a top tip for you. If you get known for instantaneous responses to emails, texts, WhatsApps, whatever else, people will suddenly expect that of you. And actually, a 2 to 3 hour delay in replying to an email, nobody's going to get too upset with that, would you? So my default is still to do all of the work first and worry about playing later. But at least now I have some self-awareness around that and I can deal with it. I can recognize when it's happening and I can dismiss it. It's a really, really good lesson for a less pressurized lifestyle in that you can recognize what actually you can park and do later and what actually needs doing now. I love a good vacuum hour. I feel so much more productive after I've done one. Nowadays, I manage a full-time corporate role, my side business. I volunteer for 2 different organisations. I still manage to do the housewife bit and the mom dog bit. And actually, I feel like I've got so many more hours in the day, you couldn't believe it. So please give it a go. Let me know how it goes for you. I really do want to know. It's a game changer in my life, so I really hope that it works for you too. I've created a free download for you so you can do a little checklist before you get going with a vacuum hour, just to make sure you've taken all the steps that you need to do before you get going so you can really max out on that. I'll leave a link to that free download in the show notes below. I would love to hear what works for you. Please leave a comment below and a little thumbs up. It really helps me to deliver the content you're looking for, and it also helps other people to find my stuff. And in the meantime, you have a fantastic week.